Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. I'm James.
I'm Ralph.
And today we are talking about episode 5 of Skeleton Crew. You have a lot to learn about pirates.
Right. Are you hearing the jackhammer outside by chance?
No.
Dude, literally, as soon as I hit go live. Okay, so we're good.
We are not doing it alone. We've got the jackhammer with us. And that is not just a nickname, though. It could be for Adam Frazier. Welcome back, Adam. The jackhammer Frazier.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. How are you? How was your Christmas?
Good. Good. Yeah. It's been a tough month. My dad had a heart attack.
Shit,
right
man.
before Christmas. And so that, doing a lot of traveling, staying in the hospital, stuff like that. But it's looking forward to 2025 for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Is he okay now? Is he all right?
Yeah, he's doing well. Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Ralph, how about you? How was your holidays?
It was great, and I probably should have prepped this. Maybe I could just send you towards her TikTok, but my sister, Sarah. Yeah, I know. Can't do this. My sister made a cake that was half like wavy red orange frosting and half like Oreo crumbles, and she had a Lego Obi-Wan and a Lego Anakin laying in the lava side and Anakin on the high ground, and it's pretty great.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and then every year she gets me the Star Wars Advent calendar for the last 6 years.
Great.
And it's a pretty solid year. A couple of repeats from previous years, but that's okay. Like Razor Crest was okay, but they had some new ones. They had a really cool mini Y-wing. They had a Princess Leia with buns in a Christmas sweater. They also had who else was in the Christmas sweater? Oh, Luke, Jedi Luke. One black hands, one flesh hand, and then Christmas sweater. It's funny because it was a Christmas sweater of like the homestead with the two sons, and I was like, it probably brings up bad memories.
Yeah, remember when you couldn't save your aunt and uncle and they died here horribly?
Yeah,
because you were off on some adventure. But Star Wise wise, pretty solid holiday. I'm trying to think. I think I got something Star Wars related other than that, but
I'm wearing something that I got Star Wars holiday related. I got some socks. Liz got me some nice stance Star Wars socks. Hang on, I can take
your
one
foot
off.
Up there.
No, I'm not gonna get my foot out. That's paid content. But yeah, some cool stance socks. They're wicked. I really like them. The stance socks are great anyway, and so some Star Wars ones are always good. What else did I get? That was the new it's not the trading card game. That's Star Wars Unlimited. The deck building game that I think I talked about or reviewed on here a while ago. It's a Clone Wars edition of that now, which standalone or can be combined with the other one. So that's really fun. We played that last night. And what else? That might have been it. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think Liz might be watching, so if she remembers anything, she can just throw it in the chat. But it was a solid day. Yeah. Nice holiday. And then I was off again today because Boxing Day in the UK is a bank holiday. So it's nice. Yeah.
Cool. And we got a new episode of Skeleton Crew, which I'm going to say off the bat, my favorite episode.
It was great. I've watched it twice now. We watched it late last night. We were waiting for Liz's mum to go to bed because she's not been following the show. She doesn't really care about that. And yeah, we watched it late last night, and then I came home early and watched it again today before, so I can make my notes and things. Loved it. This show is every new episode. I fall deeper in love with this show. It's so good.
Okay, guys, I have to start here. I have to take you guys on a journey before I get to my Skeleton Crew opinions.
Okay.
So lately, my relationship with Star Wars has sort of been at an all-time low, I would say. Certainly the lowest it's been in the Disney era, primarily because of the cancellation of The Acolyte. Not just because I liked that show and I want new and kind of bold storytelling in Star Wars, but
Yeah.
I just really did not like the way that Disney Lucasfilm handled that whole situation. You know, they didn't show any support to the cast and crew. They didn't defend them in any way. And it really just bummed me out. And aside from my Disney Plus subscription, which I share with family, so I can't really just cancel it up front, I haven't spent a dime on Star Wars as a brand. I just have not felt like supporting it. And it's really just sort of soured my fandom in general. I'm not collecting anything currently. I'm not reading any books or really participating in the fandom in any way. And, you know, following that up, the news that the new Jedi Order movie was now off the schedule, and just that kind of constant deal with Lucasfilm. It's really bummed me out. And even though I know Skeleton Crew's been in the pipe for a long time before any of these other decisions were made, following up the Acolyte with the Skeleton Crew, which I'm going to say some perhaps controversial things here, but I feel it is the safest and, as a result, most disposable thing that Lucasfilm has created in a long time. And that doesn't mean I can't enjoy it and like certain aspects of it, but to move from something that felt so bold and so kind of in your face with the Acolyte to something that just feels so safe and so manufactured in a way to, hey, we can't make anybody mad, guys. Everything we make divides the fandom. We have to make something, even if it's lowest common denominator, have to please everybody, right? Go ahead.
I have thoughts on this because I was going to bring this up. That I feel like this show is sort of Alex Damon proof. Because I love Alex. I love Star Wars Explained. But this show isn't so bogged down in EU. It does, to your point, feel disposable in the fact that you don't have to watch it in order to watch all of the other things. It's such a standalone thing. And that's one of my favorite parts about it, is I don't have to be bogged down in EU bullshit. I love that I can just sit back, watch a Star Wars, not see in like a obvious cameo that I have to go on Wikipedia and figure out. I like that I could just sit back and enjoy it. I feel like this is the closest thing to Star Wars 77 than anything, because it's not like, I think, not bogged down in lore. And it makes it such, for me, it's so nice to just sit down and be taken to somewhere I haven't been before. As much as I liked Ahsoka, I knew in my brain they better not fuck up Rebels. I love Rebels too much. And so I'm sitting there the whole time. I'm sitting there the whole time like, when are they going to show Hera? Am I going to be cool with Hera? Instead of just watching a story. So with this, even though, yes, I agree it's disposable on a fact that it has nothing to do with anything and it's just like this thing that's over here and isn't tied to anything, I'm kind of hoping that this creates new myths. The line, you knew my father, he fought in the Clone Wars, like that conversation in Star Wars.
Sure.
You weren't bogged down in it. You didn't have to know any of that shit, but it created a sense of wonder. Whereas this show is very similar, where they're not taking pre-existing
ancient
things.
Pirates like that. It's just that throwaway line. It's and
like they could have easily in this episode, the hologram of the former captain, like, I'm gonna say it, in a Filoni story, that would have been some fucking Mandalorian from Hondo. Yeah, it would have been somebody. And the fact that they covered the face, I don't think it's because they're hiding a reveal. I think it just doesn't matter.
So for me, going off of what Adam said, I completely see that point. And I think the comparison would be, this is The Force Awakens compared to The Acolyte being The Last Jedi. where there's a lot more going on there. There's a lot more interesting ideas, whether you love them or hate them. There is definitely a deeper, richer story there than play the hits, play the safe. It is safe. This is playing the hits of Amblin, whereas that was Star Wars. And I think as Jeremy Kelly says here, it's feels like a palate cleanser between Acolyte and Andor. I don't know if it needs to be in terms of palate cleanse, in terms of I didn't like those or they were too dark or anything. It's like just for me, with everything going on in the world at the moment and how shit everything seems to be at the end of 2024, and then I think all of us were just in a bad mood when they announced the cancellation of Acolyte. Like it just felt like a slap in the face. Again, even if you didn't like the show, the way that it was all handled just was shitty. And I don't think many people would ever say anything else. This is there is a joy to it, and that I'm loving it for that reason. Will I think about the show after it's finished too much? I mean, I guess it depends on how it wraps up and what it does at the end, but it might be a case of I love these 8 weeks with this show, and then I don't think about it too much afterwards until I show my kid this in 10 years time.
Sure.
But at the moment I'm in it and I'm loving it.
And so this is the part where I've turned heel. Now I'm going to turn face again. So, so I've had a hard time warming up to the show. You know, I really felt like it needed to show me something that I could invest in. And now I'll say I love the music. I love the production design, the costumes, of course, all the aliens, you know, you guys know every show we talk about, I'm like more aliens, and that's fantastic.
Droids.
Yeah, more droids. I love how, especially in this episode, it feels so much like Solo, a Star Wars story, which I would say, Ralph, is probably my pick for what feels the most 77 Star Wars of the Disney era. This taps into that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, this was the first episode where I felt like, oh, this is more than just Stranger Things in space. Which was sort of, unfortunately, the vibe that I had going into it.
That was the selling point. That's the way they were marketing it, and I was like,
absolutely,
I get why they did that, because it was huge. But I'm so glad that it's not that. I'm so glad that it's not that.
Yeah, and really the big thing that's changed for me is, and I'll be honest again up front, I'm not too crazy about these kids. I don't hate them. I don't wish them ill, but I'm not really interested in any of them as characters. But Jude Law is fantastic, and Jod is giving me something to invest in. And SM33, I'm really enjoying as well. So it's lucky that this is the episode that I've come on for, because I think the episodes before this, I would have been a lot rougher in my my critique of it, I guess, but I really did love this episode, so I'm on board. I'm excited to see where things go.
I'll be honest, Adam, it's kind of nice and refreshing having you, someone who we always bring on, because you know what you're talking about. We're like, you're well informed. You're also usually very enthusiastic about the shows that we're watching, and so to have an opinion that is a little bit different and a little bit unexpected is nice. It's really cool, and it does open up the conversations more, and that's always a good thing. I mean, I know, Ralph, like in between shows, you're often in that point where it's just like, I'm done with it. I'm out. Like we don't really do many. Yeah, we don't do much in between seasons of shows at the moment because of that reason. And also you've been burnt out working on the movie and things like that. So but I mean, coming up, we've already looked at it and we're like, cool, we don't need to do anything between this and Andor because we've got
Invincible's back.
So it's nice, and that I think just keeps the enthusiasm going, because we can just talk about the shows as they come out, which is ideal.
You know, it's the Acolyte thing really kind of created a crisis of confidence with Lucasfilm for me, where it was like, why should I invest in this stuff, guys? Like, why should I give money and attention and time to Star Wars if none of it matters. And like, if you're just going to cancel something,
it just shows. I think with Acolyte just showed that it's like they don't care about the creative storytelling. It is just a bottom line thing, and Acolyte costs a lot of money. That was, and I feel like it seems like they flat out said it's like, no, we were happy with what Acolyte was doing. We really liked what Acolyte was doing. It just cost too much money, and I was like,
yeah, well, that's not, it's not our fault that you spent $300 million on a
you could have done it cheaper,
episode series. You know what I mean?
And you've got enough. Like, what the fuck? You've got enough money. You're Disney. And then when the news this week came out about Andor and how much Andor's cost over the 2 seasons, what was it, 630 million or something?
Which is crazy.
I'm like, it's crazy high. And I'm just like, Andor looks amazing, and it is amazing. And I'm cool, glad they've spent all that money on it, but you didn't need to, I don't think. And it makes me go, shit, I'm glad that was only ever going to be a 2-season thing from the jump, and they sort of committed to it, and it was already in production. Because otherwise, I think if they came into it now and they were like debating whether to do a 2nd season, they'd go, no, it's too much money. So I'm so glad that that's in the can, because I just don't think we're going to get that for a while.
Yeah, it seems like now we pivoted to series streaming, and now it feels like we're trying to pivot away back to movies, but you can't seem to get any of these movie projects aligned outside of Mandalorian and Grogu. So I guess
it really does feel like this is the blowback, and it's always delayed from when it actually happens. It's the Iger coming back in and taking control and going like, what the hell? We need movies. This can't just be all Disney Plus all the time. Like, there still needs to be some theatrical output.
And that's where I'm in the camp of, and this is maybe an extremist take, but I just feel like if something has Star Wars in the title, it should not be canceled. Like, Star Wars is the biggest franchise created, and if something wasn't successful to the point where it had to be canceled, that is not the brand's fault. That is clearly a management leadership issue. and like, if you can't make a Star Wars streaming series work in 2024, like, do not blame Leslie Headland for that. Like, there's more going on there than just that. So that's sort of my thing too, is like, don't say it's canceled. Just say, hey, we're pivoting. Maybe it's a Darth Plagueis movie. You know, maybe we finish the story in a Darth Plagueis movie. A lot of the fan base would get excited about that. Yeah. But to just say, oh, it's done, it's canceled, nobody liked it. It's just like a real bummer.
It's insulting. It's yeah.
And so that's sort of, you know, going into Skeleton Crew, I had a lot of harsh feelings, but I am really enjoying this a lot, and I loved, you know, when we introduce new locations in Star Wars, the best ones, the ones that stick out, are ones that feel like they've always been there. We just haven't seen them before. And this, you know, Skull Ridge Mountain being on this Lanupa planet, and it's been gentrified, of course, which is hilarious. But that all felt like it's always been there. You know, it felt like it felt a lot like Vandor from Solo again.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, because you know that's where like Dryden Voss's pleasure yacht is and all that stuff. So it certainly.
But you just go around the corner from where that train track is, and it's like, oh, we're here now. It's a mix of Vandor and Cantonica. It's those two combined.
And if you remember all the there were some deleted sequences from Last Jedi that actually showed a spa on Cantonica, and there was like a really weird naked alien that was being played by Warwick Davis, I think, and all that stuff got cut. So it's kind of cool to see that idea repurposed here.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I diving into the episode itself, I'm glad that we checked in with the parents this time around. Like, we're seeing that they are having their own story. It's not like only seeing like every moment of their story. They are doing their own thing. We're just not following it beat for beat. Like they've got whims,
which is nice.
Women.
I was afraid it was going to be a whole episode about them.
Yeah, I don't want a whole episode, but I'm liking that we're getting these check-ins because they've got a mission, they've got a plan. Women Neil's parents probably are the closest because those kids were best friends already. Like, so they would know each other, so they work in the same area. So they're doing stuff. But then to see Fern's mum get involved as well and just be like I was going about this my way. it probably isn't working out, but she's afraid to break the rules. And then she's like, all right, okay, let's go. Let's do it. So it was a nice, neat little check-in. And you do see, I think, some of Wim's silliness in his dad as well with the stuff behind the back.
Yeah. So
think
let
it
me
comes in
ask
somewhere.
you, the inspector. Okay, this can go kind of three ways. Is it going to be a cameo? Probably not, but that's a possibility. Is it going to be like a Wizard of Oz? There is no inspector, like it's just a big droid type
AI.
thing.
Yeah.
Or could it be Renaud? And that's why they didn't show the hologram, because
Ooh.
Renaud, we don't know his species, how long he's been crashed there, what have you. Like, could that somehow be him?
Did he take over? And was he always the person in charge, or did he become the person in charge? Maybe.
Right.
That's interesting. That could be something that works out. My thought on it has been that it's an artificial intelligence as Wizard of Oz type situation for a while, but yeah, Tack Renaud as the supervisor would be interesting.
Yeah. And this week we got more information that AT-ATN is a mint. I think I brought that up last week. And it's just printing money.
But it's not going anywhere. I think that's the thing. Like this money's not that we know of. It's not getting out. It's not going anywhere. It's just like they're stuck in their production loop, and they're still just doing the work, but it must just be accumulating somewhere in somewhere, Scrooge McDuck like tower that he just dives into every now and then. If it is Tack Renaud, he's just swimming around in it.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting that the planet, the mystery of the planet is intriguing to me, and the idea that it's cut off from the outside world, and so they're here just making Old Republic money with no knowledge of what's happened outside of the barrier. And so I wonder if that there must be a similar vault on AT-ATN. Or maybe it's down in the mines. They've mentioned the mining kind of operations on the planet. So the mystery of those planets is really interesting to me.
I think it's
the way it's unfolding too.
Yeah, I think
I love the way it's unfolding.
Important that the banking clan were mentioned and seen in this episode as well. So it's like, this isn't the Munes. It's not the banking clan that we know of who were in power during the Clone Wars or now going forward into the New Republic. They still exist. Money is still circulating. This isn't like the only mint. This is way older than that. This is and there's so many clues going throughout, and this episode sort of solidified it to me. This is High Republic era. Like that lightsaber that Wim picks up at the end, it's all gold and everything like that. The only other lightsaber we've seen outside of the High Republic is Mace Windu's, which in comics for the High Republic we've seen is a hand-me-down, or at least the design is a hand-me-down. His lightsaber, that lightsaber, is a High Republic lightsaber. So like that look is old. They stopped doing that look in times of crisis and never really went back to those flashy lightsabers that they had back then. So this episode solidified it to me that is the era that we're playing with there. It's just a couple of 100 years back, which makes sense if they were all in on it with the Acolyte and the books and everything coming out, and then they're going to try and tie that stuff all in together.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love just the whole location of Skull Ridge Mountain, and just the idea that there's a sensory gymnasium, whatever that is. There's a buffet.
Yeah, of course.
And there's the rejuvenating mud baths, of course.
When they were walking through, and like she's giving the tour, and SM-33 is like, "That was the fighting pits. Food for weaklings." And it's like the way he's just like critiquing everything that she says, and he's like, "This is bullshit. This is bullshit." It's like just mumbling, grumbling, like back in my day, sort of like old man shouting at the sky, and I loved it. Nick Frost did such a good job with that droid.
And then, of course, we see the iconic image that is the image for this episode, the hut in a mud bath, and he eats his diminutive attendant, who is a a trogloff, which is the prawn alien that we see in Canto Bight in The Last Jedi. You know, the guy working the tables.
Yeah.
And he says "not again," which I find hilarious. So
yeah, he's clearly been
he's
been in and
fished out of
spat
there.
out, probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Love it.
That's so kids know that that character did not die.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're not afraid to kill people in the show. Like there is some Indiana Jones-esque deaths in this show, and
Yeah, totally.
as soon as they went underground, I was getting like Temple of Doom vibes, where it's like you've got all this glitz and glamour up top, but then underneath is where the seedy stuff is happening. They don't know about it. But the reverse pitfall, I thought, was a neat booby trap. Like you're used to people falling in pits onto spikes. This one, the gravity is just opposite there. The slice, but the laser slice,
Decapitation,
really fun. Yeah, really
Penitent
fun.
Man.
Kneel before God. Yeah.
And it's so good that it just goes right over the kids' heads. Like it's like, oh,
just if Fern is an inch taller, she's lost her head.
I also liked the bounty hunter Pocket that showed up. It was played by Kelly MacDonald. And
is that okay?
She knows Jod by yet another name, Dash Zinton. So it was cool to see maybe a bit of a Dash Rendar reference there. If we're never
Dash,
Rendar, but to me, Pocket sounds a lot like Poppet, which is kind of a word used a lot in Pirates of the Caribbean. So I'm not sure if that's where that sort of came from or what, but I really like the design.
McDonald is going to be in the new Green Lantern series.
Oh,
that's fun.
Crossovers.
That's just for me.
Yeah, like we didn't get a species for her, but like she reminded me of the Umbarians from Clone Wars, like the planet that was all darkness and everything. And what's her face from Palpatine's like close inner circle when he's Chancellor.
Right.
I can't remember her name. Yeah, you know who I mean. The bold one.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun. What are we up to with? Is this 4 or 5 names that we've had for Jude Law now? It's getting up there.
There's Crimson Jack,
Jod,
Wood,
Silvo, Dash.
There's another one, right?
Yeah. And then when that guard is chasing them, I feel like he just lists off a bunch. AKA this, AKA that. I'm just like, no, I'm not writing these down.
Which one does Kim mention? Jack.
Right? Yeah, oh yeah, Crimson Jack. Yeah, as Kim mentions Crimson Jack. Yeah,
she mentioned. Okay, it wasn't a different one.
Yeah,
but I do like that the kids are noticing that, and they call him out on it.
Mm-hmm. They don't trust him at all, which I like. Like every episode starts with them being like, no, we still don't trust you. we know you're full of shit, but you always sort of up until this point, like pay off. Like
save the day. Yeah.
Having you around has been beneficial to us up until this point. Before we get too far away from it, when we're on the ship at the beginning and we find out that it's the Onyx Cinder, we finally get the name in the show, and we find out about Captain Reynard. That back cabin that they're in, with the back window with the sort of the lines down, it just looks like a captain's cabin of any pirate ship. It's like it's just the way that it's shot. It's exactly that, and it's perfect. It's such a neat little visual hint that you're on a pirate ship. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, and I love that they're just saying pirate.
Yeah,
like they're not trying to like be cheeky about it. It's like, listen,
you're pirates.
This is Star Wars pirates.
Yeah, I was trying to think like beyond, having Luke walk the plank in Return of the Jedi. This is kind of like the first time that I think the idea of a space pirate has been taken more literally in terms of like what we know as pirates. So like even like Alfred Molina's character in the previous episode, like he's talking like a full-on Pirates of the Caribbean character.
Yeah.
So that's been really fun.
Because like we've heard the term since 1980, you old pirate. Like it's been thrown around, but it's almost like in a phrase like we would call people a pirate. But it's like no, these are legit pirates. They're not smugglers. They're not spice runners. They're not this that. They are pirates. They are going to do piracy. Like that could be any number of things. But it's it's looting and pillaging and yeah, pirate work. It's good.
Booby traps.
I also loved the, as they get down into the tunnels under the spa, Fern befriends Cathalops, who is
Just
this
friendly
giant,
Cthulhu.
yep, just
Yep.
a
Yeah.
giant Lovecraftian creature with a like Dr. Seussian type face,
Like
he-
walrus,
almost like
like
a Grinch like face.
yeah, yeah. Love that. Had
Loved
so
it.
much fun. So much fun with it.
And that's
Loved
the
the
thing.
voice.
The first big tentacle Star Wars monster that's been like actually really good, I think, because we've had a few.
Yeah.
We had Borg
I think
Gullet.
Lady
We had
Proxima is a standout.
Proxima's good.
Love Lady
but
Proxima,
she's
yeah.
not like real tentacly. Whereas
Yeah.
like we had the
Rathtars and
the Rathtars and Borg Gullet and a few others like that.
Google it.
And they never really they never really hit the mark. Whereas this, I'm like, no, this is it. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Voiced by Patrick Seitz, I think is how you pronounce it. And he's done a ton of voice work, video games, cartoons, you name it. You've heard his voice before. I think he's maybe most well known as doing the voice for Scorpion on a lot of the Mortal Kombat games and animated movies and stuff. But really love that creature, and I love that he was willing to help if they just entertained him and told him a story. And that felt very like Henson-esque. It felt almost like he felt like a never-ending story type character, where just like benevolent giant creature.
It's really putting the friends we made along the way up there on Front Street. It's just like it's about the story. That's what's important. It's like I just want the entertainment. Like give me that, and we're good.
Yeah.
Will we see him return to help the kids in the next
or
episode?
the post-credit scene with one of them just like telling him the rest of the story?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, they go back and tell him the story.
Or Jod, like that could be Jod's fate. Like he's just back there in that treasure room, like taking it over, and just be like, "Yeah, this is."
I immediately had a ton of questions about Cathalops. Like, like does he have a ship? Like, how big is that ship to carry him around? Like, how did he get down in those tunnels? He's a big guy.
I have a feeling that he's been there for a while, and he's just sort of like one of those people who lives at the hotel.
Right.
He's that guy. He's like, no one really pays attention to him. He's just kind of a resident now.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe he was hired as like security for the treasure, and it's been so long he just doesn't care? So he's like, yeah, I'll help you. I'll open it for you.
Yeah, fuck it, whatever. No one else has been here.
Yeah. Because I don't know if that's like a main part of the spa. He's just using that as his own personal spa.
He's just down there, but he's used to being like getting an attendant at least. So yeah.
Oh.
He's sort of
maybe that came with the deal with building the spa. There was you can build here, but you got to take care of this thing down here.
He's just here, man. You can't get rid of Cathalops.
You don't ask any questions. Just make sure you bring him down whatever he needs.
Yeah. And entertain him. He just wants some good entertainment every now and then.
And the name Cathalop, it's not hiding the fact that it's like Cthulhu. Like they're not.
It's even spelt that way. We were watching it with subtitles on, and like it's spelt with like the CTHU. Yeah. It's right there.
So I like that they're just not. It's almost like for parents. Like if you want to learn more about this, like if a parent recognizes that and say, hey, if you like this guy, you might like
want to see where the inspiration
Lovecraft and so they're almost making it super easy for the adults to get the non-Star Wars references. Do
you love the Goonies? Well, you would love cosmic horror from H.P. Lovecraft. You mentioned the booby traps, like the spikes and the acid pit, which I thought was
that's
pretty fun. And the reveal that the inscription, is like all who enter must make the greatest sacrifice, and the kids immediately think it's their lives, and Jod's like, you don't know pirates very well. It's actually their treasure, which was a nice touch. So.
What was great was when the acid drained, how many skulls of people who tried it. or
So many
in
Well,
there.
that's it.
skeletons and stuff, yeah.
It's the thing is like if you're a good, nice person, you would think the ultimate sacrifice would be a life. It would be like you got to
Yeah.
sacrifice, and I'm sure that there were people who were like push like of whoever their companion was,
Yeah.
like, and
Well,
I'm like,
absolutely, yeah.
oh
Yeah.
no, but that's the thing. It's that one coin. It doesn't need to be much. It's just something. It's a donation.
Yeah.
And Jod refilling the acid pool
Once
and
they
just
were
dispensing of all those guys. There's a lot of screens.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Jaleel White is gone and all those guys are
Maybe.
gone.
I think
Yeah.
he might be like the only survivor, and he goes back and tells Brutus like what happened.
We
kind
see
of
him all
thing.
burnt up or something, maybe, or
Like a
like
Yeah,
leg.
yeah.
lost
like
a
he's all
leg.
messed up.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So okay. This was a show where we're like, okay, there's a force sensitive guy. We don't know if he's Jedi or Sith or whatever, or just never really studied. But in this episode, he does do a lot of teaching when he's talking to Wim. That sounds straight out of Jedi teachings that we've heard before.
My thoughts on Jod and how much of a Force user or a Jedi he is has changed, I think, every episode. And I'm now fully in the camp that he at least had some training at the temple. Like he had some.
And then maybe
I don't know if he scrubbed out or if it was an Order 66 hide or what it was, but I feel like he like the stuff about attachments and them like getting rid of attachments. And what was it? It was he had a few. There was
he's almost like trying to dissuade Wim from being a Jedi, like through their own teachings. Like,
That's
hey,
it.
you want to be a Jedi? This is what they teach you. And it's probably something where he was about the adventure of being a Jedi, Jod himself, and was swayed from pirates. Like, hey, listen, that's cool that you have all this stuff, but look what the Jedi, you don't have like any possessions. You wear robes.
You like stuff, right? Like you like things. Yeah.
So I could see him being taught, but in maybe a mission as he was a Padawan or something, like real young, he got swayed by pirates and just
maybe lost his master or something like that, to pirates, and then got taken in by a pirate captain.
I almost like, because when we first started the series, right, there was definitely the idea that he's the John Silver character and Wim is like Jim Hawkins or whatever, right? Yeah. And now I'm wondering if when Jod was a kid, he was actually the Jim Hawkins. He was a little kid that maybe displayed some sort of force sensitivity, and a pirate saw that and gleaned onto it and took him like along. And so he was never trained formally, but he does have the force and does have some ability to use it. But all we've really seen him do, right, is stuff that, like when we think about Darth Maul as a Sith, we just think about him using the force to like throw things. He's not like a force lightning guy, like he's not like entangled in the higher like mysticism of the force, it seems.
Right. He's a weapon. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so the way Jod uses the force is totally the way that a crook would learn how to use it. Let me pull this to me. Let me pull this switch, let me grab this weapon kind of thing.
It's not library. It's flights of tricks. It's simple tricks and nonsense, but with the force.
Yeah, like if Han Solo knew the force, this is how he would use it. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? He wouldn't be doing like double somersaults like Luke. He would just be like,
and he's not going to be like trying to convince people to be good and righteous. He's just like, I'm in it for me. Like I'm just gonna, And I mean, he is definitely playing a Han Solo, Harrison Ford-esque role. When KB turns the switch and creates the steam or the mud and knocks those guys in, and he turns and he swings and he punches that guy out. Like that is an Indiana Jones punch.
Totally.
Like that is it's absolutely like that.
There's also certainly the comparisons have been made, but the Jack Sparrowness of his character, and like Jack Sparrow's whole deal, right, is in the way that Indiana Jones is like making it up as he's going along, right? Like Jack Sparrow looks like an idiot most of the time, and they're like, "You're the worst pirate I've ever seen." But then you see him do something incredible that's like intricately planned, and they're like, he's the best pirate I've ever seen. And so that sort of feels like Jod too, is like he's using the force in that way to sort of when his luck runs out, he takes luck into his own hands.
I was saying it after the third episode that what Jude Law's doing here is it's a better Jack Sparrow than Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow, because that just became a caricature of the same character. Whereas Jude Law is taking what that character was in the first film and doing it, but in his own way. He's not trying to imitate that, but it's taking the same characteristics, and he's doing it brilliantly. It's Rube Goldbergian sort of like, this thing will lead to that thing, will lead to that thing, but he is making it up as he goes along.
Yeah. One of the things I'm enjoying about the series is his relationship with the kids, but in this episode, the kids are really getting confidence in themselves. I like that Wynn is able to figure. Is it Wynn that figures out that the pot roast?
Yeah,
isn't rotten. It's like fresh.
Oh, it's Neil. Neil's yeah. And Wim sort of saves the day at the end by slapping the chair.
Yeah. It's such a great, it's great that they let the kids be smart and figure stuff out. It's nice that the kids aren't like completely stupid and just trust Jod this whole time. They're not dumb kids, and that's nice. Even to the point where like you would say, like, if you do 1-for-1 comparison of Goonies, like even with KB being Data and having a wrench and doing stuff mechanically to save them, you would think of Neil as Chunk, who's just like a bumbling loudmouth, but he's not.
Yep.
He's not. He's so much more than that. Yeah.
And Wim is a little bit more than Mikey. Wim, he is that sort of dreamer.
He's Mikey and Mouth combined sort of thing. Like,
yeah. But I like that he's also coming around on stuff. Yeah. He's sad because he misses his dad and mom. But Jod tells him, like, you wanted adventure. Like, he's starting to learn that adventure may not be all fun.
Yeah.
And that kind of does something to his brain, because when he does save everybody by hitting the stool, it's like, adventure sucks, but sometimes you need to like who knows what's in that pit.
Yeah.
He's also not thinking of what he's doing.
Take that risk though.
It's interesting too, because Wim is all the kids are very sheltered. I mean, they've grew up in suburbia, literally, and beyond that, the planet itself is sheltered and hidden from the rest of the galaxy. Whereas, like, if you think about Anakin when he was a kid, and even Luke when he was a kid, they were on Tatooine, like they were on the frontier,
exposed to some rough shit. Like, definitely.
So like it wasn't anything for like young Luke to see the Tuskens, raiding a camp, or like bullseyeing womp rats in his T-16 and stuff. Whereas the most adventure, the most adventure that Wim has had is when he took his bike off the track. So
around the back of his house, those woods that have always been there. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is he went off the track because he saw someone else do it. So he always seems to play it safe when it comes to his adventure side. So what was nice about him taking the action and being proactive and hitting the stool is like, this is the first time he's going into the unknown on his own terms without having someone else guide him. And I think that's what I like about the teachings from Jod, giving him the Jedi training, was like maybe that thing I always wanted isn't exactly like fun or the best.
And that felt like, to me, to a degree, in, I guess that was Book of Boba Fett, when Luke basically gives Grogu the options of saying, hey, like, we can do this, or you can go be with your dad, and it's not like judgmental. It's just, hey, like, these are two separate paths, which one do you want to go down? So, I like too the sequence where, towards the end of the episode, where Fern is trying to assert her dominance and Jod challenges her. And, Jod doesn't really want to like kill these kids or anything, but like, he's gonna like do what he has to do to get, to get control of the ship. And that was a very like Captain Hook and Wendy moment, like from Peter Pan, where it was like when he had the knife to her throat and kind of made her relinquish the ship.
Like, and I genuinely think that he's like, I think he would still take them back take them back to Anne if she relinquished control. It's just a case of he's now got what he needs, and so he doesn't need to pretend like they're in control. I think he's always felt like he's in control. Don't think he's ever felt a moment of worry. He's always known that this was a play that he could make, and then
but why now?
Because he's got what he needs. He's got essentially he thinks he's got the coordinates. He's got the map. He doesn't need them to help him in any way. So he can do that, and it'll probably take him home. And then I feel like he'd try and, I don't know, ransom them off if he comes across anything. They're now more valuable to him as an asset as opposed to helping. I think that's a fun time to play it. And also it's like we're 5 episodes into an 8-episode series. This is the time that you get the betrayal. And then he's gonna come back around to being the hero at the end. It's there isn't as like to Adam's criticism at the beginning, like this isn't anything groundbreaking in terms of storytelling. There's nothing. It's hard to say nothing interesting because it is all fun and interesting, but there's nothing. We are all students of film, like in some level, like we all know how this story plays out, and I think we all kind of got that from the trailer, like the way that this story is going to play. Like, and
I've been thinking a lot about that and coming to terms with like sort of why am I reacting this way to the show, or and I think that it's that when we saw Star Wars as kids, right? Like we were not experts on mythology or storytelling or film or anything. And so, learning that Star Wars was inspired by the Searchers or Kurosawa films, Flash Gordon, those references were still so far removed from us as kids, 30, 40 years, that we could still experience those narrative beats in Star Wars as thinking they were relatively original, outside of Star Wars at the time, like I had never seen anything where it was like, I'm actually your father and Leia's actually your sister, and that kind of stuff. But with Skeleton Crew, all of its references are stuff that we're so familiar with, that we grew up with, like Goonies and all the Amblin stuff,
so
that it's hard to almost separate some of those scenes, like sort of like and this is John Watts in Spider-Man Homecoming. There's the scene where he's like running through people's backyards while Ferris Bueller is playing.
Yeah.
And it's like, we didn't need that reference because we obviously know watching it, oh, this is Ferris Bueller. But it's for kids that to them, Ferris Bueller might as well be Yojimbo. It's 40 years old.
I had this exact conversation with my niece and nephew a couple of weeks ago, talking about that scene. I was like, because we were trying to convince them to watch Ferris Bueller, and they'd not seen it. And I was like, I mean, it's, that scene in Spider-Man, like it's like, that's what that is from. And that's why it's on the screen. Yeah.
Is it also in the new TMNT animated movie, Ferris Bueller?
It is.
Is that what they're watching on the rooftop? Yeah. It's so funny. Yeah.
So
that's like the grandpa.
But that's what it is. It's like we've all got to that stage now, haven't we? Like this show isn't for us. We're watching it, but it's not made for our generation. Like we are the old men who know all of this stuff. It's for people my niece and nephew's age of like 13, 14, and like I don't know if they are watching it or if I think they're not really sort of into Star Wars at the moment, but anyone who likes sort of genre TV or sci-fi or anything like that, and they're watching this for that age, if they don't have those frames of reference, this is great. It's doing all of those things that we grew up watching, but it's doing them in a good way. It's doing them well.
They would say Stranger Things. We would say Goonies.
100%.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm sure if my grandpa saw Star Wars in '77, he would have said, "Oh, this is just Flash Gordon,"
or
totally.
or Magnificent Seven, or like any other it's anything like that. Yeah.
So that's something, and again, like there's a lot I like about the show, and if it turns on new fans and attracts a new subsection of fans to the fandom that aren't racist, homophobic, misogynist slime, then that's great, because we desperately need that.
We need them so badly. They need to be the people that get loud.
Yeah.
What I like about the show is any pop culture reference from the outside of Star Wars, Like, it's not getting in the way of storytelling. We're just familiar with the beats. I was completely surprised that in this Star Wars kids show, they had an adult choking a kid with a knife to their throat.
Yeah.
Because I kept thinking, oh, he's got that knife on him.
Yeah.
He can use that on all these bad guys, not once thinking he's going to use it on this kid. That was surprising to me. And I shouldn't be surprised. The name of the episode is like,
you have a lot to learn about pirates.
Yeah. And it's like, no, I know about pirates, but for some reason just fell into false security that Jod was going to be good.
Well,
it's because of like Han Solo. Han Solo is the scoundrel with the heart of gold. And so I'm like, okay, I know these beats. I know that Ben Solo will return after being Kylo Ren. We all knew it was going to happen. We all knew he was going to turn to good. And in this one, we're all like, oh, he's going to have the heart of gold. Now maybe he doesn't.
But there's and they tried to show that earlier in this episode when Wim is crying in the corner. Jod walks in and he sees him. He's like, oh God, I don't want to touch that. Like, I don't want any part. He tries to walk away and Wim like pulls him back and he's like, no, you are going to parent me right now because I need that. But he's like, ugh. Like, his reaction to it was excellent. I was like, this guy isn't good. He's going to come around. I'm sure that he's going to come around and be the good guy who like have the heart of gold at the end. But he, at the moment,
I hope he doesn't. I kind of hope he doesn't.
I mean, it would be fun if we just sort of cut to him like he gets away from like he gets put in prison or something like that, and then we just see him getting away, and it's like Jod goes off and has further adventures. We may never see him again.
He reminds me a lot of, to go back to Solo Beckett, Woody Harrelson's character, who like is friendly and disarming, but ultimately you cannot trust him. He will
stab you in the back. Yeah.
And he does have moments of like altruism, or like you think, oh, he really is here to like help Han and mentor him. But you know, at the end of the day, he's also like, Han, you're gonna have to kill me, or else I'm gonna kill you. Like
he's so proud of his proudest moment of Han is when Han shoots him, because he's like, you're finally learning. Well done, kid. Like, yeah. So quick question before we get to the lightsaber, because the lightsaber is just a fun moment that we do have to talk about, and I like that we've gone 52 minutes without mentioning it. I noticed that more on my second view, KB is really unsure about going underground and going down.
Noticed that too.
Really sort of emphasizes like, I can't go down there. And Fern mentions, are you worried about like rust or something?
Corrosion.
Yeah. But we heard in episode 2 or 3, whatever it was, her parents are worried about her on a medical side of things. And I feel like that clock is quietly ticking in the background. And it wouldn't surprise me if next week we get something. Like if they're further down and they're trapped and they don't have quick access back to the ship or to something, I could see there being like a medical emergency. We need to get KB out of here, like right now. Like
that was definitely the vibe I got.
Pushing the next episode forward, and that maybe be what like they have to go back to Jod.
Like in Signs, when they like go down into the well or the basement or wherever they are, and the girl has like the boy has the asthma attack and stuff. Like that's sort of what it felt like we were.
There's going to be something. It's like they don't want to go back to Jod. They know that they could probably get away without him, but the thing that they need is with him, and so they have to sort of go, fine, we're your prisoners, and like that'll be what. I could see that being the case next week.
So so the episode sort of ends with Jod ordering SM-33 to take the children as prisoners because they had mutinous intent, and before SM-33 can catch them, they use the trap door. So we'll see where that takes them. And then Jod picks up the discarded lightsaber. So
a lightsaber that very nearly Wim committed seppuku with.
When he was holding it, I was like, I hope he has it right side up.
It's so and when good, he didn't, I was like, oh, he didn't. This is the kid who's been playing lightsabers probably every morning for the last few years since he's been reading those hollows. And he sort of knows how to stand with it, but he doesn't know what to do with it when he's got it. It's like, it's so good. It's such a an obvious easy gag to make, but they did it. It reminds me of the Porgs in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, we're just like stomping on the button
Yeah.
and it goes through one of them.
Yeah.
There was an earlier episode where Wim is like holding a gun, like picks up a gun that's just left on a seat and then he puts it down, like totally irresponsible stuff. So it's nice to see that like they're teaching kids like, hey, listen, like
don't fuck around with this stuff.
That's sort of like the evolution of the Amblin like kids in danger motif, like the cops with guns at the end of ET and stuff like that. You know, it's interesting. So what did you think of the lightsaber in terms of like when it flies into Jod's hand? Like, is this the first time he's ever actually held a lightsaber, or do you think
it feels like it's been a while?
At least been a long while, like not since he was probably Wim's age, I don't think.
Right.
And so it's familiar to him, but it's probably a case of if he was getting any training, it was back when there were Jedi, so it's pre-Empire, and he's known to like, even if he had an opportunity to in the last 30 years, you don't go near that shit. Like that is what gets you in trouble.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
If,
you don't want to
he's come across if he comes across a lightsaber in those intervening years, he's probably gone, oh, nope, I'm not a Jedi. I have nothing to do with this. I definitely don't want any. Whereas now he's like, I can fuck around and find out now. Like I can pick up this lightsaber. I know what I'm doing with this, though I don't think he knows really. Like his force abilities, they're there, but everything he moves is a little bit shaky. There's still not. He's not smooth with anything. Like he's just able. He's got So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm cool with him having a lightsaber.
That she says that her theory is a failed or rogue Padawan who leaves pre-Order 66. We can probably figure out the timeline of when Order 66 was in relationship to this, and then like put that up against like Jude Law's age. He's probably in his mid 50s.
You're talking 30 something years, I'd say. So
he's probably in his teens.
Yeah, about right.
So he's got enough training. Enough training to remember some of it. Yeah. She said he'd be about 20.
If you're going with Jude Law age, but Jude Law looks a lot younger than he is, other than the hairline. But
So I'm you know what? Like here's my deal with lightsabers, and I know like Pete the Retailer has the same thing on Star Wars Minute, is that like, do we always have to see them? And we always get a series like Andor where like it doesn't make sense. And I don't think we got one in Andor.
No, we didn't.
Solo, we were so close. We were so close in Solo. And this one feels like it, like where we're going to be free of lightsabers.
Yeah.
But the way it was presented in the story here, I really enjoyed.
Me too.
And I really, really liked that it cut with only the ignition sound without us seeing it. Like it went the black to credits as soon as he ignited it. And it's like, it tells you like, okay, the stakes have been raised. There's a single lightsaber on the table.
Yeah.
Now let's see how this story goes.
And it's something that I think will not be visible. He's not going to be wearing it on his belt. I think this is something that like might come back at the end. Like in a moment, that'll be what he uses to save the day. I think
it's one of the things I liked about Andor is in Andor, they made a single TIE fighter terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you have a bunch of TIE fighters, it's no big deal. Like a TIE fighter has never been terrifying in any Star Wars anything until Andor. Earlier in this season, I think it was episode 3, the 2 X-Wings.
The X-Wings, coming
after the kids. Like
antagonistic
those have never
X-Wings.
Been terrifying.
Like, yeah.
And so like having one lightsaber on the table seems like it carries so much more weight to the story than like the Acolyte, which I loved. And I didn't mind that there's a billion lightsabers in it because they're a Jedi, but at the same time, like
story,
I'm really, really interested in how this plays out because I feel like it's a very, very important thing that they've now like thrown into the mix.
Until this episode, I didn't want a lightsaber in the show. I didn't want that stuff. But this, as you said, Ralph, like it it works and it makes sense and it's relevant to what is going on, and I'm fine with it now. I'm cool with it. What was the Lucha Johnny? Yeah, they did the same thing with the ATST in Mando. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I had a fun thought, which is, we were talking about how he's gonna kind of get around with this lightsaber. It would be really funny to me if it goes into SM33's empty eye hole.
Other eye.
Yeah. You just see the rat inside activating it. It's just
yeah, that would be great. Because that's sort of the same vibe, right? As you're talking about, like one lightsaber, let's see what happens. I mean, like Luke going into Jabba's palace, like that's an intimidating situation. But having R2 shoot the lightsaber up totally changes the whole dynamic of that scene.
It's a smoking gun, isn't it? It's
it's got to happen. I'm excited about. I think I'm all for it, especially in this story, which is so removed. Like we haven't seen a single stormtrooper. We haven't seen. Well, we haven't seen the Rebel Alliance. We've seen the Republic. Yeah. But it feels so completely on the other side of the galaxy than anything else that's like relevant, which I'm really much enjoying, because it does feel like an outlier. It does feel different, maybe disposable, maybe not, but I do like that. There's spaceships. By the way, I love the spaceships in the atmosphere.
I've got that same note. Daytime and in atmosphere, it just looks great, doesn't it? Like, love it. Love seeing that.
It's kind of funny. Like, I'm glad because it's not so tied to Star Wars lore, but at the same time, because of that, it's really fun to see the most like iconic Star Wars thing now enter into the picture.
And like I'm saying disposable up front. Obviously, this show has not completed. They've sort of talked about a second season, but it's hard to invest in anything that Lucasfilm says in that standpoint.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to give credence to it. But after the Acolyte, it's yeah.
But hearing what we've been hearing about Mandalorian Grogu and knowing that is sort of advancing that story, and then you have Dave Filoni's movie, which we sort of think of as the Avenger or the heir to the Empire of this Mandoverse and bringing everything together. It is not a stretch at all to think that we wouldn't see Jod again. I mean, he could almost be the Talon card.
That's exactly what I thought.
Scenario, right? So
I've been trying to piece together who would be a Talon card. I thought maybe it was Boba Fett at first when you've got like it's crime lord, but now like if you want a more of a scoundrel version of it, it's Jod. He's right there.
Hey, and at Adam, if it's this planet that can remain hidden. What better place for like Grogu to grow up? And then like, don't you want to see Grogu hang out with those kids? And like that's sort of like Grogu and Neil like hanging out. Like that sort of feels like that. It doesn't have to be on its own.
I feel like this is making Ralph mad. I feel like this is going to make Ralph really
here's
sad.
the thing. This is the kind of shit that makes me mad. Like I don't need to see Moochie in the Bad Batch become it's actually the actual Rancor from John. Like, I hate that shit. I hate it. I want the galaxy to expand.
Yeah.
But when you're saying like, but then Grogu could stay there, I'm like, and maybe these old Republic credits can fund the New Republic, and that's leads us into the Force Awakens.
Hey,
like
or
that's how they start building.
That could be what funds the First Order. If the First Order comes in and takes over that, like. That's how they're secretly.
I hate
they're
it.
Secret. They're out there.
Like I hate it when the galaxy gets kind of compressed into one nice little package with the ribbon on it. But at the same time, my fandom of the show Lost makes me want to speculate wildly on like what can happen. What are the possibilities? And what's great about this show is it's expanding our imaginations instead of telling us this fits right here and here only. Yeah. So this is fun because it's letting us, it's giving us more
show don't tell.
Like,
it's let us put those pieces together, but like by giving us enough fun things.
And it's no coincidence that the show takes place when it does, right? Like it could still be intrinsically the same story, and you could do it 100 years after Rise of Skywalker or 100 years before the Phantom Menace. If the story is just kids on an adventure, you know what I mean? But to set it in the what we can sort of consider the Mandoverse, and given Favreau and Filoni and all these people involved, you have to assume that it is going to tie in, even to the smallest degree. There will be some sort of, because we've already seen it, right? I mean, Vane, one of the pirates, right? He was in Mandalorian season 3, so we're sort of already plotting out.
And this is a show with a Bryce Dallas Howard directed episode next week. She doesn't work on the stuff that isn't like Mandoverse adjacent. Like these are her shows like as well. She's a part of that crew.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what she does with next week's episode. We're going to cover it next Thursday. Again, we're taking New Year's Day off because I'm going to be in Scotland for Liz's birthday. I
forgot I got this for Christmas.
This guy's great.
Related.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's a wooden toy from. Yeah, I also have his childhood friend as well. Oh, yeah, there. Yeah. So.
Oh my god.
Okay. That's great.
Misa busting with happiness thing you're getting, honey.
I thought it was going to be Kitster. I thought you were going to have a Kitster.
Yeah.
Come on.
That would have been amazing. Or Baby Greedo.
Wald.
Yeah. So I think that's going to do it for this week's episode, right? I don't have anything else. Really fun.
Adam, you want to do some plugs? Adam's on Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky. Follow us all on Blue Sky. We all abandoned Twitter. At least James and I have. Adam, I don't know if you're fully off Twitter. Oh, you are? Okay, there you go. Blue Sky's great. Yeah, go follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Poppin' Pizza, Substack, which I'm subscribed to.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I'm sort of debating on doing a best of 2024. I don't know. I haven't really been in the mood for it, but I'm starting to think about it. So
just a suggestion. I don't know if you've seen it yet. If you haven't, I can get you a code. But if you may want to add Getting Lost to your list of movies this year, that would make me feel very happy.
I would love a code because I did get access to it, but I got access to it when all the stuff was going on with my dad and I was in the hospital and moving back and forth. So the code that I received expired before I could watch it. So if you could send me another one, that would be great because I would definitely love to see it.
Absolutely. And then I completely forgot until right now that I was going to try to get you a Poppin' Pizza logo. I've been so busy.
It's fine. Yeah, take your time.
You asked me like months ago, and I was just like, "Oh shit, that's right." I can think something.
Man, Ralph's really cooking on this logo, man. He's putting a lot of thought in
it. Man,
you've been so busy.
It's been nuts. Yesterday, Christmas, sitting there with my family, enjoying my time. I think we're watching that thing you do and having snacks and stuff. Someone put our whole movie on YouTube for free. So I had to get up, go to my brother-in-law's computer and go put in copyright claims and do all this stuff. And it's just it doesn't end. It never ends. And as of yesterday, also it's up on Prime Video. You guys want to watch it?
Oh, great. Well, I'll watch it there.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Great. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it had come out yet, so yeah, I'll check it out.
Is that international, Ralph? Do you know, or is that just US?
I'm going to ask you a favor after we're done here. If you can check something for me. Cool. I mean, if you can check now, I know it is available in the UK, but yesterday it was also available free to Prime members.
I'm just looking.
We're an indie production and do not want to give the movie out for free. We've been working for 3 years really, really hard on this thing. So it's we'd love to give it out for free, but also at the same time, Rick from Portrait.
I see it available to rent.
It's available to rent and buy.
Okay, so on the UK version, I can confirm that it doesn't say it also included with Prime.
Nope. I'm looking at it right now. Rent $4.99, buy $16.98, and then more purchase options.
What a deal!
Available to rent and buy. It's not available to Prime members.
What a deal!
Go rent it. Go buy it. Go check it out. It's such a good documentary. So anyone
and then go check out. But you do it. You don't really do you really don't do like reviews on Poppin' Pizza, but
Not well, yeah. I'm still sort of
Yeah.
trying to find, I did do some reviews and then I've started just sort of writing about whatever's interesting me. But I think going into 2025, I'm going to sort of reevaluate kind of what I want to do with the site. And so that might mean more reviews, or it might mean, different kind of content around movies and that sort of thing. So
yeah, I didn't want this to be a commercial, but it's exciting that we can now show people like
oh yeah.
the movie. I think you'll
It's
enjoy
really
it.
annoying that it won't let me review it on Amazon until I've watched it.
Till
So
you
I would
watch
need
it.
to-
But you've
Yeah.
seen it a couple times.
I've seen it a couple of
called
times now,
Getting
and I'm like, can I just verify my watch of it? Like, come on.
It's called Getting Lost.
Yep.
And if you like the show Lost, I think you'll enjoy this. Yeah.
It's
but-
great.
Yeah.
It's nice that
I saw
it's
that
it's
too.
definitely available everywhere as well. Like, so anyone
I want to
who
go
wants it,
rate it, and I couldn't rate it on
Yeah.
Amazon. I had to buy it. Maybe I'll rent it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Cool. Adam, thank you for joining us. We hope that you will join us for Andor season 2 when that comes out.
Oh yeah.
I think even if you weren't enjoying this show, Andor's still something special that we can all get behind. So we'll have you back for that.
I'm
I'll have a
happy
baby
Skeleton
buzzer,
Crew
which is
gave you a
exciting.
little spark of hope. I love that
Yeah.
it like helps you out like a little bit, because
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat. Every hiatus, I'm like, I'm done with Star Wars. But I'm super. This show really is it's such just a fun adventure, and that's what I think I need right now. Like I can't wait till June to get Superman and Fantastic Four. From what I've heard of Fantastic Four, like it sounds like it's gonna be awesome and lighthearted, just like Superman looks to be.
Refreshing.
So, that's what I need. I need this. I need this joy in my life.
Yes.
I think we all do. It's been a rough
Yeah.
time for everyone in various different ways. So
thanks for everybody for joining us today. It's a real nice, lively chat. Any cases, don't think it's in Canada on Prime. Maybe it'll get. I think it should be, but yeah, keep an eye out.
Yeah, Prime Video, but maybe not on Prime, like for Prime members.
Yeah, it's on VOD.
Yeah. It's ideal. We'll be back next Thursday again, Thursday stream, because next Wednesday, New Year's Day, people might be hungover. I'll be traveling back from Scotland. And yeah, so everyone have a great New Year's, and we will see you next week. Yeah, for episode 6 of Skeleton Crew. But until then, don't give in to hate.
Celebrate the love.
Huts and mud.